Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary, and today we're going to talk about INTPs versus INFJs. I just saw a video. I don't know the name of the channel. I'm not going to look, but honestly, I don't like their videos because it's not a human talking and it's a bunch of B-roll. But I have prejudices against that. But I do think it's a very juicy topic, and the topic they had was, who sees the truth, right? And I have a lot to say about this because I was very close friends with two different INTPs, and we had a heck of a lot of philosophical debates over the years. So I'm very, very clued into the mindset of the INTP. I understand them very well. And honestly, I would say that, at least from my perspective, that INFJs have a far greater ability to comprehend and deal with what the INTP is laying down, as opposed to their ability to deal with what we're laying down. And let's get into why I think that. Okay, so first off, we have a really big thing in common, and that is the introverted no, it's not. It is introverted thinking, right? Which is a very logical function. It is their dominant function and our third function. So we enjoy using it. We enjoy vibing in that way, and for that reason, there's always going to be a lot of resonance between the INTP and the INFJ. Now, I don't know if that's true of romantic relationships, because I've never been in a romantic relationship with an INTP myself. It's always just been friendships, so can't speak to that. But what I can say, and maybe I do, I guess my idea is that it would be a bit too charged. I think it's all well and good when you're friends and you're talking, and they go to wherever they live and you go to wherever you live or work, as the case may be. And I have to say, I had very, very long-term relationships with these INTPs that both ended up dissolving, and I'm going to get into the reason I think that is. And the reason that I think that is that they really, I think, admire our introverted intuition. I think they marvel at it, and they really enjoy the sort of buffet of ideas that we can present to them. And I also think they enjoy the depth with which we dissect ideas and respect it. But for us, something being logically true is not necessarily going to have to be the number one priority. We could know something's true from the basis of just feeling that it's true. And that's our introverted intuition. That's our primary function. And if there's a showdown between the introverted intuition and the introverted thinking, I believe the introverted intuition will rule the day. That said, I don't think we tend to conflict that greatly between those two, and it's not hard to find logical or rationale ways to defend any particular idea. And for this reason, I think the INTPs can be very dubious of some of our ideas and assertions, especially if it doesn't resonate with their particular logic stream, education, or inclination towards history or philosophy. Now, if it's a casual friendship, these things don't matter too much, but they can become, over time, something that weighs on the relationship to the point where it breaks and snaps. And it's been my experience with INTPs that they're quite passionate in a way, and I think INFJs, we can be passionate. I think we'll use the word passionate to describe how we feel, but ultimately I don't think that we're as driven by passion, at least as an archetype, as the INTPs are. They get quite a buzz from their research and the flow of ideas, their inventions, their suppositions, and their philosophies. What I will say, and this is, I guess, in general, a critique of extroverted intuition in general, is that, um, well, it's still intuition. I've made that point on this broadcast many times. And intuition is an amazing ability to have, whether it's extroverted intuition or introverted intuition. But I think having been close to several people that had extroverted intuition as one of their high functions, I have a real good sense of it. And what it's amazing at is finding things out, collecting information. I will say they have, in some ways, a greater ability to accept and entertain new ideas than INFJs. I think sometimes we can get into patterns that are supported by our introverted intuition and our ability, the ability it has to hone down, to drill down, to strip away, and to focus and concentrate any idea. And for this reason, we can get invested in our ideas, maybe if they're wrong as well. But I think our stressors, the back and forth between the introverted intuition and the introverted thinking, is like a bit of a ping pong match. It just you have to be active. You have to really be able to defend your ideas internally, and I think that's where INFJs are strong. Now, I'm not, obviously, if you've ever had a discussion with an INTP, not only are they passionate, but they can get quite hot about defending ideas that they think are true as well. Ultimately, though, and we're pulling it right back to the truth, I think we have a greater ability to discern truth than the INTP, and I think that is mostly because I think we have a greater capacity for depth. And if you've ever heard the expression that the devil is in the details, then you'll know what I mean. You could be thinking that something is mostly right, but it's not sometimes until you get down to a granular level. And our ability to do that with our intuitive feeler and expressor is unparalleled. Okay, and it's our gift to humanity, really. Now, I think INTPs are wonderful, and I'm not taking anything away from them here. I think they're very good at things like philosophy, honestly. I think they're good at in a lot of cases, math, although I don't know for sure about that. I know I'm not any good at math. I never had any aptitude for it, but plenty of INFJs are very competent at math and are good students, so I don't really know, but I do know that they like to analyze things, break it down, and they like consistency, and who doesn't, really? Everyone does. I do think that a big difference maybe between us and them is that we really do like consistency as well, but if we get a strong enough feeling or impetus or knowing, we will abandon the consistency. We'll just abandon it heartlessly. And I think if you do this around an INTP, it can be quite jarring for them. They don't like that. They very much like consistency, especially in the realm of ideas and logic. And the last thing I want to say, as far as a criticism of logic, and we do exercise an awful lot of logic, but the problem with logic as some sort of be-all, end-all way of guiding your life is that, yes, it's a process, and yes, it's a process for discerning truth on one hand. However, to the degree that you're invested in your logical suppositions, it can make you quite blind to the fact that your initial supposition was possibly totally incorrect. So if your initial idea is totally wrong, it doesn't matter how much logic you apply after the fact, it's still wrong. And that's what I gotta say, INFJs, until they come back in another day. Keep on keeping on.